Just because it's cold outside doesn't mean you gotta put your flirt game on ice. Hello, my nostrils. Dr. Magnifiscent here, and welcome to the Arctic Nose. You know, the term summer of love is commonly used. You never hear about the winter of love, do you? Well, I think it's about time we offer something for those on the search for a special someone during the snowy months. I mean, we gotta keep warm somehow, don't we? Don't we? If you know what I mean. I'll be honest, I hate the winter, but I love my winter scents. This season is the best excuse to get wild with those wacky, stanky skin coatings we call fragrances. It's the time of year to satisfy my psychosensual brain by wearing bold, crazy, artsy compositions with unconventional or downright bonkers note blends. Like turned-up leathers, ouds, boozy, smoky, or animalic notes. You can really crank the stank, as the kids say. Okay, nobody says that. Not yet. But you can get away with it in the winter because when the air is cold and your skin is cold, it's harder for your fragrance to be diffusive. So yes, we need strong performers. But what about those who just simply want to smell, well, sexy? Whether you're on the dating scene or just wanting to up your seductive aura for that date night with your special someone, we will need to factor in a few things. Number one, obviously we're looking for scent profiles with mass-pleasing elements suited for the winter surroundings. Sweeter notes work great, like gourmands, for example. But this is a Dr. Magnificent list, so you know I'm not just gonna offer some linear, designery, run-of-the-mill mall scents. All of these also contain bold, interesting elements as well, but just a little tucked in for the purpose of luring that special someone in. Number two, speaking of luring, the performance has to be just strong enough to be detected when fighting against cold air, but not so nuclear to where it acts more like a repellent. And number three, something very important I need to state right up front. If you're expecting these fragrances to lock onto that hot person across the room and tractor beam them right into your irresistible grasp, good luck with that. Let me know how well that works out for you in the comments. Let's face it, a fragrance is not a magic feather. The much more important factors will always be your appearance, personality, and charm, which you should be prioritizing anyway. The scent is just the cherry on top, as we like to say. So with all that established, let's proceed with this list. But first, with it being so cold outside, please hit subscribe so I can buy me family another lump of coal for the fire. We're almost out of gruel. I need some bus fare to get over to Gruel Mart. It's all the way on the other side of town. I would walk there, but I had to eat my shoes. Is that laying it on too thick? Just subscribe, will ya? It's a really fun channel, I promise. All right, enough groveling. My top 10 sexiest winter fragrances for 2024 through 25 to up your frigid season sex appeal. The Wingman is now in. Let's start with a guaranteed hitmaker. Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male Elixir. This golden child has it all. It has sweetness with honey, that designer mass appeal with lavender, tonka bean and benzoin, but just lurking in the backdrop, a hint of robust tobacco. I don't know if that's an officially listed note by the brand, but it's what made me sold on this guy in the first place. I've always had a soft spot for Le Male. It was the first fragrance I ever owned, and I do love what they've done with the Elixir. It's not too sticky, syrupy sweet. It still has that original DNA at its core. Of course, I'll admit it does smell very designer, a sexier and more unique smelling designer. But if you're looking for something a little more intriguing, I suggest you try Monkey Special by Xerjoff. Hey, we're off to a shiny start, aren't we? Thought experiment time. I feel like if there were a scent spectrum ranging from extreme to extreme, on this side, super easy, mass appealing, and kind of boring. On this side, super challenging and a little nasty. I feel like both of these would fit in that narrow middle ground mass appeal window. And they would be on the opposite ends, but kind of close to each other, if you get what I'm saying. Le Male Elixir being somewhat of a left-of-center designer. By the way, how fun is that sound, huh? How annoying is that? Every time I do this Le Male or Spice Bomb or something, it's always ring, ring, ring. Let me put that one down. And Monkey Special being a real easy-to-love artsy niche scent, but just slightly on the bolder side. After all, it was made in collaboration with Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, for Satan's sake. So sure, some may find it still a bit much for their taste. There is leather and rum and dark patchouli, but then we have passion fruit in the top notes. Love that fruity touch. And later on, it gets real sweet and seductive with vanilla, caramel, and sandalwood. Oh my god, this is one I believe everyone should at least sample. If you want to go a little more mysterious, Herod by Parfums de Marly is one of the sexiest niche fragrances ever made. In my opinion and the opinions of many. A lush combo of tobacco and vanilla. Sweet, but not too sweet. I would describe it as smoldering with this dark and brooding aura. And musky as heck. I've heard some people call it sex in a bottle. I mean, I don't know. Sure? No, it's too sexy. It's too sexy!
Oh my god, too sexy! Not again! Here it comes! Too sexy! Yeah! Oh no!
I love me some classic SNL. Anyway, back to Herod. In my experience, it's well performing without being overly loud. I've heard folks say the modern formulations have been a bit butchered compared to older bottles, but still, I'm sure even the modern bottles will get you undoubtedly noticed simply due to the dark, smoky, moody nature of the scent profile. A huge reason I fell in love with PDM was because of their strong performance, which may not be nearly as turbo as it used to be, but I have no doubt still much better than the average designer. Minus this next designer, the oh-so on average Gucci Intense Oud. Yep, this is as perfect of a winter designer as you can get. Now, for putting together a sexy winter list, avoiding pungent, stanky, nasty ouds was a requirement. But Gucci Intense Oud is oud done sexy.
This is true.
The oud is smooth and subtle, paired with saffron, frankincense, patchouli, ambergris, and a touch of raspberry, pear, and rose. At least according to Fragrantica. I can't find it on Gucci's site. So I believe within the time span of filming my first impression of this and right now, I suppose it's been discontinued. Regardless, after a quick search, it is still widely available all over the online retailers and discounters. I do find this to be another fine example of a perfect introductory oud. Much like Tom Ford's Oud Wood, which may be the historical North Star scent that empowered all the other designer houses to take a chance on oud. Gucci Intense Oud is another great wearable oud for noobs. In fact, I could say the same for my next pick too, only on the niche side. Oud For Greatness by Initio. Yes, I've been pronouncing it wrong my entire YouTube career. Thank you, John at Refinery, for telling me how to pronounce this brand correctly. It's not Initio, it's Initio, which sounds so much more posh, or maybe a bit pretentious. I don't know. Regardless, Oud For Greatness is one of, if not the most popular release from them, which is odd to see a fragrance with oud in the name garner so much buzz. Just seems to be a note reserved for more advanced fragrance snobs like me. Nonetheless, I have to credit Initio for also creating a wonderful oud scent for beginners. I have heard it get compared to Baccarat Rouge 540 by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, one of the most copied scent DNAs in the world. I really don't get that. But if there are tinges to that vibe, I can see that being the factor to its popularity. The only note crossover I see is saffron. Maybe that's a slight tribute, but to me it's more about the patchouli, musk, and of course oud. Again though, a smooth, easy oud. Maybe if Francis Kurkdjian released a Baccarat Oud 540 flanker, it would smell a little something like this. I don't know. Either way, two great examples of a designer and niche oud created for unrestrained sexiness.
Oh no, my man's so sexy!
Moving on to gourmands. I understand a lot of these I've mentioned have that darker, more mysterious appeal, but not everybody wants that. Smelling sweet and delectable is never a bad move when you're wanting someone to crave you, am I right? Right? Yeah. Everybody loves sweets. Meet Intense Café by Montale. Another bottle with an annoying rattling thing. I can't escape them. Coffee is the dominant note here, but it won't make you smell like a barista who just got off shift. It's just there to complement the florals, mostly rose to my nose. A deadly sexy combo, especially with that nice base of amber and musk. Again, sweet and tasty, but with some depth. In fact, even the most sugary sweet gourmands in my collection all still have some sort of deep twist. Even if it's subtle, like Stronger With You, absolutely. Now, if you want to just smell simple and sweet like a fresh baked tray of toffee, you might want to go with Stronger With You Intensely. But for me, absolutely has that nice signature SWI roasted chestnut to supply the sweetness, then paired with a boozy rum and aromatic patchouli, just really amping up the sexiness.
Very sexy, my man, yes!
Intensely is a solid scent though. I just never bothered because I prefer Absolutely, and I find it absolutely redundant to own both. Be extra careful with the trigger on this one though. It's nuclear. Will fill any room you walk into and continue to hang out well after you leave. So I say for a date, one spray is all you need. Or maybe a second under your shirt to keep it from blasting too much off the skin. But then again, if you're going to a club or a big outdoor party, you could apply a bit more if you really want to get noticed. And noticed you will. Trust me, the delicious scent and extreme projection does result in a buttload of compliments. You've been warned. If you want to smell sweet and sexy on the cheap though, reach for Paco Rabanne's Pure Excess Night. A great budget-friendly date night gourmand featuring cacao, caramel, vanilla, cinnamon. Sounds a bit cavity-inducing so far, doesn't it? But then you have a nice incensey base of myrrh and an interesting top note of ginseng. Yes, a ginseng tea note is something I don't come across too often. So for a designer gourmand, it has some uncommon facets. But then again, at least on me, it still is pretty simple, especially compared to many other things I own. It won't knock your socks off, but for those looking for something like that, and for the price, pretty nice stuff, I think. And I can say the same for this next one. In past fall videos, I've talked about the one. Yes, the one.
One chance, people.
And this is the Eau de Parfum, famously known to many as the GOAT of sexy, classy, designer date scents. Oh yeah. But a lot of people complain, myself included, about its weak, just disappointingly weak performance. I don't recommend him in the winter. Instead, I would suggest the one Intense. While the EDP features that slammin' designer tobacco accord, Intense features lemon, neroli, oakwood, and leather. Again, not an officially listed note, but I definitely pick up on some leather.
Good guess.
I must warn you though, when I first smelled it, I was disappointed because I was expecting this to be just an amped up version of the one EDP. Nope, it does take a significant departure from the DNA, but since I've owned it, I've grown to really like it. It still translates that classy, sexy nature with the added bonus of upped performance. But we're gonna end this list with good God, can a scent get more perfect than this? One of the most sexy and lovable scents I've ever had the pleasure to whiff. Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. Now, full disclosure, on my skin at least, it's really not a super strong projector, nor is it super long lasting, especially in the winter. It's just one of those scents that's way too good to turn down. And Guerlain is kinda like that more times than not. Still, so sexy and elegant with that Guerlain L'Homme Ideal bitter almond at the core. Dressed up in leather, cherry, vanilla, incense, rose, super androgynous. I can't picture anyone disliking it when they smell it on you. To be honest though, if I owned the newer Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Parfum, I would probably be featuring that instead. But alas, I don't have it, and I'm ashamed to admit I haven't even smelled it yet. I want to, but can't quite speak for it yet. It still has the almond along with amaretto, leather, musk, and patchouli. I will get my schnoz on it, but for the time being, I can confidently recommend the EDP for those who demand sexy perfection. And you should too! Subscribe to this perfect fragrance channel, perfect your YouTube subscriptions tab. And while you're there, give us a like and ring the bell, because I demand perfection from those algorithm gods. If you could, share me with your pheromone challenge frostbitten friends and family, especially that person in your life who's been having a hard time searching for the warmth of love during the freezing months. Blast me out onto your socials, and leave me a comment if you also recommend some dead sexy scents which make you smell deadly attractive, especially in the winter. Or if any of these end up working for you in the love department, I want to know, because this is not a fragrance channel. It's a big, sexy community, if I do say so myself from my perspective. Am I right, my nostrils? So many gorgeous YouTube profile handles. Okay. Weird. And join me next time, will you? In the meantime, stay warm, stay hungry for love, and of course, Stay smelly. The doctor is out.
Is there a problem with the temperature in the
No, my
studio?
friend, please! It is too sexy this time!